nakatawan, mapayapang isipan. Go palakas, malinis na paligid, mabuting kalooban. Go palakas, hangad na maglingkod sa kapwa't kaibigan. Go palakas, alagaan natin si inang kalikasan. Halika na totoo sa kalikasan at kapwa-tao. Isa buhay natin ito. Go palakas, go palakas. Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan. Go palakas.
Ay, nako. Pleasant
day.
morning.
Good day to everybody.
Pleasant morning to everybody who's listening in. And, si Harry Yumol came in early today. Harry, good morning. Bibisita na ako dyan sa lugar niyo. Okay. So, sa ating mga tagapakinig, magandang umaga at saka let's welcome Nimay.
Oh,
Si Ma'am
yes.
Nimay.
Kilala niyo niya siya
Kilala
from
niyo na
our
siya.
previous segment, no, on good food.
So, it's always very, again, every day of our life, we should always be, no matter how difficult things may be, na hinaharap natin in whatever it is every day of our life, but we have this means to live a life where, alam niyo yung prayer, diba? And
Yes.
thankfulness,
Yes.
gratitude. If we embrace these values all the time and be thankful, no matter how difficult things may be in the world we live in, what we go through, pandemic or whatever it is, the difficulties and adjustments that we need to do in life. Alam nyo, basta may prayer tayo and we have meditation, it will make a difference.
Because every day is a blessing. So
Yeah.
that now that we are awake and alive, then there's so much we can still do, and that's something we can do to help others go through this crisis and actually, help them become actually more happy also.
And it's a chance of service.
Yes.
This is the most, one thing that sometimes when there are difficulties as a society that we encounter, you bring out the best of people. And then the opportunity of service is open. And when one engages in such activity, then that's where the depth of pleasure and happiness is experienced. And this is the kind of life that we should be longing for and living for, para, may meaningful ang buhay natin. So this weekend, itong Sabado, our topic is about education.
Yes, alternatives to
Yeah.
yung education kasi malawak yan eh, hindi lang eskwelahan,
Yeah,
actually
in
buong
every-
buhay.
Hindi lang academics.
Yes, oo.
So teacher Nimay is an educator.
Oh, yun.
by
Baka hindi
profession. So
nila alam,
that's why,
kala nila nagkukuk lang si Nimay, pero actually she's a teacher
in
by profession.
By profession.
Oo.
Okay.
Oo.
So,
Paano babati natin kay Nimay yung mga nasa comment section natin?
Hi, sino ba nandito? So, good morning, si Ma'am Cynthia, Ivy Villamor. Hello, Tita Rose. Tita Rose, I believe is from Iloilo.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello po. Good morning.
And-
Sir Angel.
Yes. Si
Good morning.
Kalindi rin bumati at saka si Henry nga at saka si Milay. Yes.
Harry
oo.
Yumol, yan nga.
Maynigo tribe. I think they're
Maynigo tribe
always
of Lawayan.
here. They're
Yes.
always,
Always
watching.
present.
Yes.
Diba?
And si Nitz pala is from Davao.
Oh.
De Oro. Oo. Si Mopet. Okay. And si
Rina
Rina May. also
Yeah.
from Cavite.
Good morning din.
Good morning sa
Yes.
inyo lahat ulit, no? So,
And-
pag ang paksa natin pagdating sa edukasyon, we talk about education. You know, uh, just as our society has changed so much in the last 50, 100 years, di ba? There's
Mhm.
certain experiences that in the whole world, certain dynamics do change. And the society itself in general tries to adapt to the changing environment of the society that moved to the city, di ba? May mga ganun yan. Eh.
Oo, oo.
And that you live in the city, you need to learn a lot of skills and things that you need to equip you, yeah, to capacitate you
Okay.
to be able to be functioning in the society that you're with,
Oo.
you know. So now the question would be, kasi titingnan natin education has brought us to so many things in life. You know, we've seen different success stories pagdating sa education of skills, di ba, to
Oo.
capacitate people.
Yes.
But sometimes when you look at it, you know how there's so much disparity amongst us.
Disparity in terms of yung opportunities for
Yes.
education.
And also, you know, with regards to facilities that we use in life. Di ba? May mga ganun eh.
Oo nga.
Right. And just because education towards a skill, to develop a skill, without the values connected to it, this is where the difficulty begins. There are times that when values are not a main component in a person's life, he's not very careful. He's gaining all these resources and facilities, you know, more than what he needs.
Or use it for the wrong purpose,
Yes.
no?
Yeah.
Pwedeng maging dangerous.
They
Yeah.
gain the knowledge, pero yung misuse ng knowledge,
Right.
Oo.
nagiging problema naman ngayon sa society.
Oo.
So you're educated nga, but then, hindi ka naman nakatulong sa society.
Right. You just end up, you know, yung pag walang values, nagiging self-centered ka or selfish ka sa lahat ng gamit mo or whatever gains you have. Then, nadidirection naman yan. Pagdating sa selfishness, siyempre, sumusunod dyan yung greed.
Yes. Lalo na pag yan masyado silang naging exploitive,
Yes.
no?
They
Not
use-
just of resources, pero they will also exploit people.
Manipulate them because they
Manipulate.
have the knowledge already, how they
Oo.
understand people, how system works. So ngayon they're able to manipulate and sila lang yung nagbe-benefit.
Right.
Oo.
May ganon.
Mm-mm.
You know, in the early, right after, I don't know, alam nyo naman, minsan, I talk about history a lot. Because it's always important to look back to history because that's how a society can, or even a person, can measure. You know, anong naging pagbabago o am I happier today?
Oo.
You know, or did it solve many things for me? Has it made made life more easier and convenient for us?
Or you learn from the mistakes from
Or
the
you learn
past,
from the
hindi
mistakes
ba?
from the past. Alam nyo, in the world order, right after the World War I, I believe, many of the influencers during those days, they saw that many of the resources or facilities being built prior to that time were built to last.
Oh, yung mga sasakyan noon talagang
Tibay.
ilang
That's
taon,
super tibay.
decades,
Yeah.
no?
Di ba? Super
Yeah.
tibay.
Super tibay nila.
So ngayon, as the years went by, nakita natin na even, alam mo, in the 1950s, naalala ko to, minsan yung 1960s, yung mga sasakyan namin. Di ba? Halos parang di nasisira yung mga sasakyan. Yung gano'n, yung talagang
Mga household na gamit, they're made to last
Made to
20
last
years,
for a
30
long
years.
time.
Yeah.
Tsaka yung alam mo yung sasakyan noon, yung pintuan napakabigat, solid metal.
pag nabangga, hindi
Yeah.
nakukupi.
Oo.
Yung gano'n ba?
Yeah.
Ngayon, hindi. Para siyang, yan, yung lata ng
Maano lang,
canned goods.
masandalan mo lang,
Or
may bump
kumukupi.
na. Yeah.
Tapos, so many goodies, shiny, nice things. Alam mo yan, nagbago na yung anyo ng tao eh. Yun ang biglang kailangan. You know, naging, unfortunately, we call it a throwaway society.
Disposable.
Disposable, yung
Yeah.
tinatapon natin lahat.
One-time use lahat.
One-time use.
Yeah.
So, ang nangyari ho, the problem became the demand for natural resources has become endless to the point that the very resources that we have and we're using at the moment are already resources meant for the future generation. So this is where it got us. But when you talk about education, and there is no, you may have the skills, you may have the facility, but there is no strong foundation to push the values of human existence, then this is where we face difficulties individually or as a family or as a community. That's why there was a time when even the church was very much, parang you ask them a question, why? What happened? Parang nagkukulang tayo pagdating sa balancing. Nagiging very materialistic na lang yung ano ng society. And lahat ng buhay from the child, sa bata pa lang, tinuturuan na siyang, okay, candy ganito, ganitong kalaruan, pinagbabago-bago sa batang-bata ka pa lang, natututo ka na, hey, to demand for things. You know?
Dati tayo tansan lang at saka mga stick-stick lang ang panglaro eh. Ngayon, kailangan yung mga Lego,
Tsaka gadgets.
Gadgets ngayon.
Yeah.
Alam niyo, may isang naging bisita kami rito a few months ago. And she was a famous model during her younger days, but she moved to other country. And she came by and visited. And she saw my granddaughter. She was playing the sand with rocks. Ayan. She's patiently making rock formations with whatever she was doing. She was so glued into it. Ang dami niyang nagawa. And then yung friend ng wife, she was like, yung bata niya? He said, ang dami niyang nagawa. Ang dami niyang rock formation nagawa.
Patong-patong.
This is when she said, her comment was, Oy, parang, kasi who's doing that amongst children today? Yung parang, kasi yung kanilang mga grandchildren, ganun din ang problema. Yung parang, they're always in the gadgets. They're always tinkering with something or being entertained in a different way. Not like when she was seeing it, like, she was out there, my granddaughter was out there in the sun, under the sun, and working on the rock formation, trying to figure things out. And ang ganda naman ng nagagawa. She's only like 6 or 7 years old. And she's able to do something, use her natural creativity, yet, you know what? Walang mababasura doon. Walang kalat yun.
Walang gastos.
Ang daming skills na involved doon. Balancing, sa meron ka ng science,
Yes.
pattern, meron ka ng math,
Yes.
creativity, patience. There's so many things involved sa simple activity. Hindi kailangang gumastos.
Well, that's what dun sa book na Last Child in the Woods, sinabi nila that in nature, when a child is growing up with nature, these develop yung mga creativity, development ng self-confidence in nature, yung mga magaganda yung natututunan. Observation.
Curiosity. Ang dami.
Yes. So, magaling naman na observe din ng friend na yung bata nakakagawa ng ganito. That's really nice, no?
It makes a difference when you raise them in a much more natural environment. And then they develop the natural, even appreciation on such a young age, a tender age. They begin to realize that, wow, there's a whole world out there. Now, there's so much to learn and so much to see and experience and appreciate. When you raise a child this way, from the very start, then they realize na rin not only what the child can see, because this gives you an opportunity as a parent to engage the person, engage the child into something that's more deeper, that's more meaningful. Yet, it's entertaining them. You don't need to have such shiny things, or, you know what I'm saying? To keep them,
Mga
kumbaga,
gadgets,
you don't need this.
Oo.
It's not necessary. We didn't have it in the past. And why do the younger children? Kasi sometimes as parents today, we think, ngayon mas lalo naka-internet lahat ng mga bata. because of the the pandemic. So education nila yung ganun, nawawala yung social interaction nila, nagkukulang sila na ganun ngayon.
Oo.
So sa kanila ngayon, everything is now in front of the laptop or in the gadget or a cell phone. And the interpersonal relationship is what is missing out,
Mm.
you know?
Kumbaga
And
merong disconnection.
Yeah, that's what I'm speaking about is simply because when you deal with education, education is not just reading books, doing your assignment, you know?
Hindi lang textbook.
Yes, exactly.
Hindi lang kung masagot mo lang yung book, yun na yun. Okay,
Yeah,
you're
o
good
pum-
already.
Pumasa ka na sa grade, may grade ka
Yeah,
na.
may
O
grade
hindi
ka.
lang
Yes.
academic subjects.
Yeah,
di
yeah,
ba?
But yet, you know, in such a young, tender age as children, by nature, they're given this to be able to react socially with one another and play. You know, you bring them to the beach or, you know, let them kind of loose them out a little bit in the gardens or whatever it is. And they themselves, even with, you know, they start to see the animals, they
The
start to
different
see
kinds
the
of
birds,
ants.
they see the ants, they
Yeah.
start to react
Yeah.
and respond to
Insects,
it.
yeah.
And, you know, that's the best science. That's the
Yeah.
best way to learn
Oo.
science.
Yeah.
You know, because of natural science now, you know.
You also develop that love for nature, no? That's the sabi nga nila, the fear of some environmentalists is that baka sa next generations walang magiging with the stewardship consciousness kasi hindi sila nag-connect
Sa
as
environment
young
na yun,
children with the environment.
Yeah, the
So,
caring
the
component.
caring, yes.
Yeah.
Paano yan?
See,
Oo.
you know, there are so much studies that came out on this. We're in the child. Minsan, pag hindi yan, yung child at nag-alaga ng animal,
Oo.
Pets. Yeah.
pets nila, they become more, kumbaga yung caring component nila, bata pa lang sila. You know, I have a story like this, you know, actually, this is my daughter and my grandchildren recently. They live overseas. They had this bird. It's a special bird that they found. Medyo ano yung katawan niya, hindi na develop ng tama. It's a type of bird that is
Cockatiel ba
yeah,
yan?
cockatiel.
Oo. Sasalita,
Nagsasalita, nagre-relate siya.
Oo.
Yun yung ibon na to, matagal na sa kanila, mag 1 year na. Nawala recently. They found the bird almost half a mile away.
Oh.
Halos 1 kilometro mahigit. Doon nila nakita. Nagkataon lang. You know, they put a lost.
Poster, mga
Nagpo-post
ganun.
lahat
Oo.
sila. Then, the lady who found the bird, kasi hindi kasi makalipad yung ibon ng tama. Kumbaga, lilipad siya bagsak agad. Hindi, kasi yung katawan niya nga, hindi develop properly. Disabled yung ibon. So, you know what happened? Then, nag-connect ngayon sila. Tapos, the bird doesn't want to be handled by that lady who found her. As soon as my grandson showed up, immediately the bird went to him.
Lumapit.
Ka agad yun. Doon nagpahawak. Yung parang, wow,
Recognize niya.
this is my family. These are the guys who took care of me. And alam yun, yung nawala yung bird. My grandchildren, my daughter, they were all devastated. Parang nawalan sila ng anak.
Oo.
Yung ganun yung feeling.
Yung care nila.
Yung care nila
Oo.
doon. So, you know what happened? So, naiuwi na nila. Now, this bird, kumbaga yung nakita niya, uy, nandito na kami sa bahay kasi nilalakad nila siya. Naglalakad. When they walk, they take walks. Sumasama yung iba, naglalakad. Yan. Mahangin pala nung time na yun kasi they live in a place called, it's a windward area. Malakas. Doon, nadala yung ibon. Nahulog, nadala. Ganyan. So, anong nangyari niyan?
Didn't really fly.
You know, the bird doesn't want to even go out of the house.
Alam na niya.
Natakot siya. No. The period that she was lost, what traumatized her completely. Tapos, ito nga kahit yung kung saan siya kakain, kung saan siya upo, kung saan siya pupwesto, kasi nakakawala lang siya sa loob ng bahay. Hindi siya nakakulong. So, kumbaga na membro siya ng pamilya. So, the children, they were like, that night, they were devastated. They were praying. They were doing everything possible to find the bird. You know, yung caring nila was very strong.
Yung concern talagang
concern.
meron silang yung kumbaga meron silang feeling of responsibility
Yes.
also to look for this bird and to care for that bird kaya They went out of their way talagang
They
to-
were going out. They were
Oo.
going all over the neighborhood looking for that bird.
Mm-mm.
Yung pala, hindi nila na-realize half a mile away nalipad yung ibon.
Mm.
Buti na lang nagkaroon ng connection yung mga na-realize yung nakakita. Sabi niya nga nang nakakita, oh, I found her here in this spot near the road. And that road, nandun yung mga pusa, nandun yung mga, yung kumagano, yung ganun yung setting. But the person who found, ginawa niya ng parang kasi yung bird na to hindi ordinaryo eh.
Oo.
Yung itsura niya, beautiful bird,
Oo,
you know.
oo.
So took the bird to safety and then
Oo.
naghintay. Naghintayan lang sila, biglang they realize, wow, there's somebody who owns this bird, who's
Mm-mm.
looking after this bird. So, it's like 24 hours lost yung ibon.
Mm-mm.
So the family kind of go, they were so relieved by it. And
Pero mabait din yung nakahanap, hindi
yes,
ba?
hindi
Talagang
siya nagano.
went out of their way then to
So,
find the
experiences
owner.
like this helps mold a child
Yes.
that to care, to be
Mhm.
caring, not only for themselves, but also for others, animals. This is, kumbaga na on my side, I always hear, it begins this way. Education in this manner is something that's more deeper. Then to the point where, you know how this caring goes deeper? When that caring comes from the person's heart.
Mm-mm. Yes.
Di ba?
Mm-mm.
Yung caring mo na yan, it comes from deep inside. So anyway, let's take a break first. Let's greet Mary from Baguio, Mary Salazar. I'll say Harry Kapulong.
And Narcisa.
And Narcisa Bhakti. Oh, good morning. Good
Good
morning.
morning kay Ma'am Ananda.
And,
Ad- Aji Merga
Yes.
from Lukban.
Good morning.
good morning
Vina.
sa inyo.
Thank you for joining us.
And from Nadia. Okay? And si Ver Enriquez from Zambales and Evangeline.
Oh,
Good morning,
Evangeline
Ma'am
Lingingan. Good morning.
Evangeline.
Oh, nice to see you.
Oo.
Hello po.
Kamusta kayo? And be careful. Mag-ingat pa rin. Mary Jane Kipas. Oh, wow. Nice. All right.
May mga comments na sila, sabi ni Aji, ng
Ni Anan.
ni Aji,
Okay.
nung bata pa po kami, yung mga gamit namin, like
Yeah.
shoes and
Yes.
bags.
Yeah, yung mga sapatos ngayon, puro disposable.
Tumatagal lang gusto. Di ba?
Yeah.
Nung araw.
Yung payong nga, minsan one
Yeah.
season lang talaga
Saka yung,
wala
alam nyo,
na.
naalala
Isang
ko, yung mga uniforme namin sa eskwela, pinapasa-pasa.
Yes.
Oo, yes. Pati
Hand-me-down,
bags.
mga
Ah,
clothes,
hand-me-downs
baby
lahat.
clothes, books,
Oo.
bags. Yeah,
And
uniform nga.
you know the
hand-me-downs.
values of learning this? You as a person, alam mo, hindi ka ngayon yung parang hingi ka ng hingi ng ganito.
Mm-mm.
Parang
Gusto mo
nakikita mo
bago.
na down the line. Pati yung kuya mo, aalagaan niya yung damit
Yes.
niya.
Mm-mm.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Kasi alam mo, may susunod pang
May
gagamit.
susunod pa,
Yeah.
kapatid ko yan,
Yeah.
gagamitin niya ito. Alagaan. Pati yung mga libro. Hindi ba yung mga
Oo.
libro natin? Okay.
Yung mga kanto, maayos pa. Hindi
Which is
punit-punit.
different now kasi yung mga ibang kids gusto nila yung the latest.
Yeah.
Let's say the latest phone model, hindi ba? The latest, brand ng shoes, yun sa kung anong mga models dyan, hindi ba?
And this doesn't just translate to the kids. When they grow up and they become adults, ganun pa rin yung consciousness.
values
yeah.
nila.
Laging kailangan pag may bagong labas, may bagong style, kailangan doon yan. So,
Kailangan meron ako
i-translate.
yan.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yun nga, same as adults. When we go, we want to change our cars if we can afford it.
Mhm.
Anong bagong model ang kotse? Or
Mm.
yung kotse ngayon, okay, may pick up ka, hindi na lang yung, minsan nga may lumapit sa akin kasi I have a pickup. It's an old pickup, no? Not naman that old, it's 8 years old. Pero, sabi ko, alam mo, nasanay ako nung bata ako, kaya ko mag-ayos ng sasakyan eh.
Mm.
So I don't mind getting used, second-hand vehicles. So you can just fix it. Lagyan mo lang ng mga component na para komportable ka, then okay na. Then you don't have to, lahat na lang ilalagay nila. They will dress up all the vehicles. Tapos, saan nyo naman gagamitin yan? Hindi naman kayo nakatira sa bundok eh. Yung mga all-terrain, nakatira naman kayo sa Maynila. Ano nyo yan?
Mga 4x pa yung mga gulong.
Yung mga lalaki yan, yung mga gulong. Tapos, pag takot naman lumabas sa bundok,
Kaya nga, meron yung economy driven yan eh. Gusto nilang, di ba yung
Masus
marketing?
tayo.
Yeah,
Ano
yeah.
ba yung marketing natin ngayon?
Yung marketing daw ngayon, what the marketing does is, they target the inner child in the person, yung psychology ng bata. Kasi alam nila yung bata, walang control. Kasi di ba as kids, pag gusto nila, gusto nila. So yun yung tinatarget daw nila sa mga adults ngayon. So that when they say, buy this, parang feeling mo as a consumer, yes, I need to buy that. So yun yung nagda-drive tuloy ngayon ng society natin.
Mga
Kaya
impulse
consumerism,
wins,
yes.
hindi ba?
Yeah.
Hindi kagaya nun, isipin muna natin, kailangan ba talaga natin yan,
Yeah.
hindi ba? And can we live without it at all,
Yes,
hindi
yes.
ba? Kaya nga, ano yun minsan meron silang tinatawag na madness sale. Kasi sa madness sale, na parang na-insane yung mga tao kung
Mad.
bili ng bili, no?
Yeah.
Dahil mura.
You know,
Okay?
even let's say clothing, for example.
Mm-mm.
Clothing is one of the biggest. The clothing industry, the fashion industry in
yeah.
the world is one of the biggest
Yes.
contributor to the deterioration of our natural systems.
Mm-mm.
Yung tinatawag nilang fast fashion.
Yes.
They say that before, they used to have just 4 seasons of fashion kasi di may season na 4 lang.
Oo.
So from 4 ngayon daw, it's already up to like 36
Huh.
seasons. So it's not just
Wow.
when the weather changes.
Oo.
So ang dami ngayon, so ngayon yung fashion industry, grabe, yung now they need to produce not just for 4 seasons but for 36 seasons.
So, mabilis ang palit.
Yes.
Mabilis din bili ng bili yung mga tao.
Yun. At tapos yung iba, dahil sobrang production, hindi naman nabibili lahat.
Oo
So it
nga.
ends up in trash. They end up in a
Oh.
pile. Some country,
Oo.
and where the country produces clothes that's cheap, mga cheap labor.
Oo.
Yan. So dikit-dikit na. So environment, ngayon pati yung human factor kasama na.
Oo. At saka usually ang mga ganyan mga mass production ng clothes, yung mga sweatshops,
Yeah, sweatshops,
where
yeah.
they employ cheap labor
Yes.
in poor countries and under really difficult working conditions. Naku, ang dami nating mga comments biglang
Ayan.
pumasok. Sige, hindi may pakibasa naman.
Okay, Ivy.
Si Ivy, pandemic forced everyone to homeschool. Yes, walang choice. However, di po lahat ng parents are not prepared for this setup. Now, homeschooling highlights the importance of participation of parents in educating the children. Actually, sinasabi nilang, our topic is alternative learning. I was just thinking, now they say that homeschooling is alternative learning. Actually, hindi. Kasi doon naman tayo nagsimula lahat. Lahat.
Si Jose Rizal.
Yes, he was our very
homeschooled.
own hero.
Oo.
Yung first teacher niya is the parent. And now, I think the pandemic is pushing us back to where it all began.
It is more than natural
Yes.
system, hindi ba? Kasi lang naman, actually, kung yung parents, madali lang naman magturo ng mga, how to read and how to, kaya alam mo yung mga subjects ngayon, pahirapan. kahit dumaan ka nung high school nun, ano ba itong bagong subject
Yeah.
matter na ito? Parang complex yung mathematics. Hindi ba? Parang kailangan magre-review ka rin, hindi ba?
And you know, may mga comment nga sometimes I hear about this when the workers come. They say, sa mga anak nila, wow, parang this particular time, yung mga kids parang walang natututunan.
Mhm.
May ganun silang comments.
Mhm.
Yung parang, sinasabi ko na lang sa kanila, look, do what your grandparents or what your parents ang ginawa sa inyo. And you are in a rural area. But yet, you will find most of them with gadgets, hawak ng gadgets. You don't find the children running around and even making their own toys or making, alam mo, nung araw, ganun eh. Kung gusto mo ng trolley, gumawa ka ng sarili mo eh. O kaya, fly a kite, man. Yung mga ganun pa.
Eto nga, is nasabi in the present age, sabi ni Ananda, not all parents man, pero ginagawa nila mga taga-alaga ng mga toddlers nila ay yung mga gadgets.
Yeah.
And these parents spend their time almost the whole day with their cell phones naman din. So pareho silang naka-gadget.
So yung kanyang doon, emoticon is sadness. Okay? Totoo yan, It's like we lose that sense of caring of person-to-person relationship. Even if we have this person or somebody who's so connected to us. Yun ang nangyayari. Nagkakaroon ng disconnect. So, as they become adults, it's like another aspect that would maybe, this was in the news this past week, kung kayo'y nanonood ng news. Alam niyo yung teenage pregnancy sa Pilipinas. We're in one of the tops in the Asian country. Teenage pregnancy is taking place. So ngayon, they have to do something about it. Simply because, again, if you track it down, saan galing ito, anong interest, anong pinag-umpisahan ito, you will find. They're constantly in their gadgets, in their cell phone, they're beginning to see so much of the stuff so early.
Yeah.
And such activity becomes what is known as child's play. activity that is actually meant for adults, people who are responsible, it becomes something that they do. They think it's fine. It's okay. Again, where does it take place? Social media na naman yan. Kasi there are those proponents of social media who's pushing this sort of agenda and consciousness. So that's why, kung ano yun nung araw ng mga influencers natin noon, mga telebisyon, mga radyo nung araw, sa panahon ng late, few years
At
back.
saka church was a strong influence
Yes.
so many years ago.
Yes.
Oo.
There's spirituality.
Oo.
There's so much of that as an emphasis in the person's life and the basis of our existence. Sinasabi from the beginning, things that you own, all of what you have, is not going to be around forever. Magbabago at everything you have in this world will pass. You don't even, anything that you own, iiwanan mo eh. And this is so clearly being, kumbaga nung panahon na yun eh, that's why as a young teenager all during those days, on my side of the world, I tend to, you have those periods of introspection also.
Yes.
You experience when you hear about sadness, that there's certain, you question the sadness eh. May ganun ka eh. Ba't pa nangyayari na ganun? Kasi introspective ka, nagagamit mo ngayon yung talino mo. Your intelligence is bringing you to, giving you the answers, helping you make the right, correct answers. But sa panahon ngayon, minsan, parang, pag humarap ka ng hirap, parang, ay, hindi ko kaya yan. Tinatalikuran ko yan.
You escape.
Yes, Kate.
Oo.
By distractions, social media,
Yes.
going to social media
Yeah,
with
this
your
is-
gadgets. Yeah.
Yes. This is something that we all have to as parents, or on my side as an adult or a person who is, recently we were dealing with the environmental code of this province. Talking to the governor recently, sabi ko na, alam mo, we have no more water. The water for the generations to come to grow things. Don't be thinking that they're writing about watersheds and all of this. It's non-existent. It's collapsing already. And I said, look, for us, this is an emergency. You have to declare a state of emergency because caused by the drought.
Even in Taiwan.
Yeah,
diba?
Taiwan.
Meron din silang drought.
Yes,
Oo.
kasama kasi tayo dito sa Northern.
Emergency.
But ang
Oo.
puntos na sinasabi ko, pagdating sa ganito, edukasyon kasi, yung sensitivity mo sa mga bagay na ganito.
Yes.
If
your
you are in a
environment.
position of making decisions or influencing or helping people in the long run, if you're insensitive, you're disconnected to the natural systems that you're given. Even your own body, you will neglect its needs.
Oo.
That's why you'll face with social issues. Teenage pregnancy, yung problema ng malnutrition, yung problema ng maraming bagay na-encounter ng ating society. Kaya,
So they're not in touch with reality.
Yes.
Because they're already covered by these gadgets and everything. So hindi rin masosolve yung problems kasi
Yeah.
walang acceptance or perception.
It's
Walang
very-
awareness.
Oo, walang
yung tao.
awareness.
ang tawag dyan the word is superficial.
Okay.
Our lives become, kumbaga lahat ng gawain natin, kasi walang lalim, walang meaning, our lives become so superficial lang. Dinadaan-daanan lang natin. Pero kung ganito ang uring buhay na na-embrace natin, it's the kind of life we embrace. And we just throw away our human life. Naging sayang na. Kumbaga, and this human life is meant for a higher purpose, for a higher undertaking. Deeper, kumbaga, may lalim dapat ang ating buhay.
Going back to your point na sinabi ni Ivy, it's actually good ngayon na the parents have taken their role as teachers. As Sir was saying, you live in your environment, and because you are aware of the problems, you as a parent, that ikaw ngayon ang teacher, you can interject that in the subject
Yeah.
matter. So kunyari, instead of just focusing on the academics, what's written on science, they're talking about something that's not related to your environment. Parang may disconnect din kasi yung education at saka yung
correct.
reality.
Yes.
But now, the parents, now you have the ability to connect the academic and your environment so that the kids or the generation now are more aware of what's happening And then, nung ipapasok kayo yung science, instead of just memorizing elements,
Yes.
now you now understand na, kaya pala may shortage ng food is because of like this. You know, so parents, now, this is your time to shine. You can educate yourself also. Madali naman maghanap ng mga information na ganito online. It's not like kulang tayo, like as Sir Toby say. Nandiyan naman yung mga information.
Lahat ng information nandyan, lahat
Yes. Yes.
It's always, it's the information technology ngayon
Yeah.
It's in your ano lang
Fingertips lang.
Fingertips,
Yeah.
may makukuha na kayong input
Yeah.
Then it's how you comprehend the input, how you make how you approach it on a practical basis, that you reconcile everything. Oh, here's the information. This information is meant to guide you in your actions.
Yes.
Tapos there's the values of, syempre, wag natin kalilimutan yon. Kasi this is what sets us aside as human beings. Is that value to care, the value to make a difference in other people's lives and to the environment you live in, to understand what your limits are,
Yes.
di ba? And to understand that, we are all in pursuit of pleasure and happiness. Di ba? Nobody's saying we should be miserable. Who wants to be miserable? That's why
not the
we're trying to
goal.
find solutions
That's not
to
the
our
goal.
misery.
Yeah.
Di ba?
Oo.
We understand that as human beings that we are not going to be happy when we live this way of life.
So it's the lifestyle actually
Yes.
that's making us unhappy. So we have to find the right lifestyle to be happy.
Make it so that it has its real foundation, a meaningful, deep foundation.
Yes.
That is guided by the truth, not just truth that changes. Kasi minsan
Wisdom.
ganun
Yeah.
Wisdom
The
yan
wisdom. Oo.
You know.
Doesn't change.
So
It
basic,
doesn't change. It stays the
Yeah.
same whether or not there's a change of
Yeah.
our society in general. Nagbabago yung society natin. But when wisdom becomes the guiding light of people or society's lifestyle, then, you have a happy society.
yeah.
People will be very happy.
So we must be concerned about education for the physical, mental, and spiritual development
You
of
cannot
people.
disconnect. You cannot be
Oo.
thinking it's all material and mental only.
Oo.
Because it is the person,
Yes.
the spirit, is the one that drives everything.
Oo.
The decision making, you use what you have, your body, your mind, as your means. But yet, if we misuse this to make it so, we become selfish, we become greedy, we become envious, then we bring about misery to other people's life and also to my own life. Diba?
Yes. So, ako meron na naman mga comments sila. Yun si Mary Jane, YouTube is really open to watch. Sana may magagawa rin na mga concerned agencies on porno, movies, and the likes. O yung mga dapat talagang chine-check natin yan na
Yeah.
ma-filter.
Yes.
Ma-filter yan na
To
hindi
monitor. You
Oo.
shouldn't allow your kids to go online on
Yes,
their own.
and
I
this-
know the school is online, lahat online. But just because na online sila, you should always monitor. Kasi bata pa that's your role naman as a parent
Oo.
Just because the material is given to the child na nandiyan sa computer, doesn't mean it's okay. You still
Oo.
have to be
And you also
there.
have to make sure these are just, kumbaga means lang yan Kumbaga equipment.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? To facilitate things.
Mm.
But it's not the end in itself.
Yeah.
You, the user, or the person responsible to those using it, kumbaga you have to monitor. If you're the parent, you act as parents.
Yeah.
And this is the role of parents.
Yes. Hindi pwedeng i-surrender yung mga bata
Oh,
dyan
you
lang
don't.
sa social media.
Nasanay kasi yung mga parents na okay, school time, we drop them off in the school, wala ka na
Oo,
responsibility.
yes.
You
Oo.
can do whatever your work may be. So I think this is one of the biggest challenge. Kaya nahirap yung mga parents because now na yung reality is hindi nila pwedeng ibagsak lang yung estudyante sa school.
Oo.
Now the student is there at home doing school, but you still have to be there.
Actually, yung sinasabi ng workers mo, Tito Toby, about, the children's learning, they feel it's not up to par, yung mga ganyan. Actually, meron ditong quotation from the Africans, sinabi na, when an old man dies, a library burns to the ground. So, ang ibig sabihin nun, the person who has knowledge
Yes.
can actually impart a lot.
Yes.
While he is alive, then parents can teach their kids even to through storytelling. It doesn't have to be math, doesn't have to
Yeah.
be anything. Even yung mga experiences in
Yes.
life. I mean, my Lola, when I was living with her, she would tell me about the war,
Mm.
experiences niya.
It's
And
better than the history book.
and to me,
Ah.
syempre, I saw the suffering that they went
Yes,
through.
yeah.
And of course, it develops in you. Sabi mo, ayaw mong magkagera,
Yeah.
sana, hindi ba, dumating tayo sa point na we have to start fleeing and being,
Mm.
yung mga women were being raped and everything. So you pray na sana hindi ganun mangyari. So these things that, parents can tell stories and they can share stories and experiences with their children, and in the process give values,
And you know what?
wisdom.
It's also the chance to be educating your children on the way of life, to be praying all the time.
Ayun.
You see,
oo.
at the end of the day, that's how you refine things.
Mm-mm.
That's the refinement of our existence. It's not whether we have all of this. I mean, one of the richest people in the world today just had a divorce.
Oo nga.
Yeah.
And
Kilala natin.
you start to
ang mga
go,
Gates.
wow, the money,
Yeah.
whatever wealth you have, did not keep your family together.
Mm-mm.
So it points a message to everybody.
Di ba unhappy sila kaya sila nag-divorce?
Problema.
Diba?
And it's been ongoing, so they've been living a very sad life
in a
pala.
kind of life pala,
Yeah.
akala natin, we're always thinking, wow, so you cannot even count that amount of
Right.
money. The money that they have can even sustain countries.
Budget na ng
Yung
mga
budget ng bansa.
bansa.
I
But
think it's also because yung society, the education system kasi, galing tayo sa yung motivation kasi sa bata is, pag nag-aral ka ng mabuti, ganda yung grades mo. Pag maganda yung grades mo, makakakamit ka ng mga ganitong honors, okay. Tapos, madali kang pumasok sa university. Na maganda yung university na puntahan mo, maganda yung magiging trabaho, maganda yung magiging sweldo mo, mas madami kang mabibili. So, yun yung nag-drive sa society natin
Yes.
ngayon. So, now everybody's just studying hard, working hard.
And competing and
Yes.
trampling on one another.
Yes.
And
And then they
And-
will also spend a lot because
yes,
that's what they've been trained to
Yes.
do, to use that money to accumulate so much wealth and so
at
much
the end of the day,
gadgets.
you get divorced.
Yes. You spend all your money on,
Di ba? May
on
ganun yan,
lawyers.
Ganun ba yun, ma'am?
Hindi, meron nga doon sa Cebu, there was a
I'm just
feature
joking.
na meron, may binild
I'm
yung
taking out of context
Ah, yeah,
na naman
yeah,
dito.
yeah.
binild yung husband ng temple
Yeah,
of Leia,
Yeah.
because she had accumulated so many things, and even when she was sick and she knew she had to leave her body, she was so worried what would happen to all the things that have accumulated, mga art pieces, mga sculptures, mga ganon. So the husband promised, I will build you a whole temple to accommodate lahat ng mga gamit. So that was the concern. Parang paano mangyayari sa mga iiwan ko, which is really, sana wag ganun yung ating consciousness na isipin natin lahat ng iiwan natin, kasi talaga namang that's the fact. All that we accumulate will be left behind. So we must focus on higher knowledge about our connection, our relationship with the Supreme Person who is our dear friend. And that should be our, thinking of moving on to the better world than this that we have.
And then we can actually embrace that world now.
Oo.
That's why we have a human form of life. We don't have to wait till we have to leave this world. Actually, we can be experiencing that. The change is within. It's a saying in the Bible: the kingdom of God is within you.
The happiness is within.
Yeah,
you
so
know.
it's there.
Oo.
So we are raised and we have this chance to be educated to live our life this way.
Mhm.
And then, it's not like we prepare. It's not like we need to wait till whatever happens. We're preparing our life already. We're making decisions on what is of value. Di ba? There's no lack of information. There's no lack of direction as to what we should be doing as human beings. The Ten Commandments guides us. There are many scriptural guides to teach us. There's many great saintly persons. We have teachers today who can educate us, and to make it so that our lives are blessed and better.
And a parent can be the
Meaningful.
best teacher if
Exactly.
ganyan yung kanyang sinishare sa
Yes.
children.
On the end of the day, you set the foundation of a child, eh. But that basis is also coming from you
Mm-mm.
because you're the first model.
Mm-mm. Yes.
And then this carries over. You know, no matter what, the best thing that we can educate others or even our children or our friends or all of our family. You know what's the best education? An education that is eternal and it will last. There's no limits to it.
You can bring it with you.
Yeah, di ba?
Hindi ba? Hindi mo yan maiiwan. You will be able to bring that knowledge and wisdom with you, the treasure with you through the whole existence, you know, even after the death of this body, you can take it with you.
You know, for everybody, clear advice: add meditation to your life and always be prayerful. Always pray, live a life of gratitude and thankfulness. And then whatever comes your way, you recognize immediately this is a gift
Yan.
Yeah.
and I should use it wisely.
Mm-mm.
So, again, to all of our friends, lahat kayo po, those who have na sumasbaybay sa amin every weekend,
And their comments,
and their
thank
comments,
you. Ha?
please. Alam mo si Katrina, alam ko galing siya sa agriculture eh. So ang comment niya yung agriculture food production
Water
eh.
daw.
Kasi nabanggit
Yeah.
natin ng konti yan kanina. But there are many things that we can be doing and we can be a part of making things better and
Mhm.
life better for others. Thank you so much sa inyong lahat.
Thank you.
Again, we see you
you.
next week again. Thank you,
Bye.
Nimay.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Dami ko rin natutunan kung yung mga viewers natin, madami natutunan ako din.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan, go Palakas!